Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 4 Reddit stories for you. Reddit stories that will make you pick sides. Story 1. Best friend hooked up with my crush then expected me at her birthday. So my best friend just stabbed me in the back and now she's acting like I'm the villain. Let me explain this mess. I've been best friends with this girl Mia for 6 years. We literally grew up together. I tell her everything, she knows absolutely everything about me. Recently I started talking to this guy, nothing official but I actually liked him, which is rare for me. I told Mia everything about him. I showed her our messages, told her what he was like, gushed about every little interaction we had. She knew I was into this guy. Last weekend she threw a party and invited both of us. She didn't tell me she was inviting him, but whatever, I wasn't gonna make a big deal about it. But then at the party, I'm literally watching them get closer and closer throughout the night. And then it happened, they hooked up. My best friend of 6 years hooked up with the guy she knew I was talking to, the guy she knew I actually liked. I was devastated. I left the party immediately because I couldn't handle seeing them together. The next day she texts me asking if I'm okay, but she doesn't apologize or anything. She just acts like nothing happened. Fast forward to now, it's her 18th birthday party and she expects me to show up like everything's normal. She's been texting me asking where I am, saying the party won't be the same without me, acting all confused about why I'm not there. But here's the thing, I can't just pretend this didn't happen. I can't sit there and celebrate her while I'm still hurt by what she did. Some of our mutual friends are saying I'm being dramatic, that it wasn't that serious since me and the guy weren't actually dating. They're saying I should just get over it and be there for her birthday because that's what best friends do. But I feel like she stopped being my best friend the moment she decided to hook up with someone she knew I had feelings for. She had to make a choice between respecting our friendship and getting with this guy, and she chose him. Now she's dealing with the consequences of that choice. I'm not trying to be petty or vindictive, I'm just protecting myself from more hurt. But everyone's making me feel like I'm the bad guy here, like I'm ruining her special day over some guy. Maybe they're right, maybe I should be the bigger person and just show up. But every time I think about going, I picture them together at her party and I just can't do it. Was I wrong to skip her birthday after what she did? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. Sick college student versus roommate's girlfriend time. So I just called my roommate a selfish bastard and now I'm wondering if I went too far. Here's what happened. I'm a freshman in college and me and my roommate have been pretty chill, we're friends but not super close. On Monday he texts me asking if he can have the room to himself Tuesday from 3 to 6 because he wants his girlfriend over. No problem, I agreed. But then Tuesday morning I woke up feeling absolutely horrible. I had this terrible sore throat, I was achy all over, running a fever, clearly coming down with the flu. I texted him around 10 a.m. explaining that I was really sick and asking if we could postpone his girlfriend's visit because I needed to rest and probably needed to get some medicine. His response? A flat no. He said they'd already made plans and I'd have to figure something else out. I tried explaining that I could barely get out of bed, that I had a fever and felt awful. I suggested maybe they could hang out in the common area or go to her place instead. But he refused to budge. He kept insisting that I'd already agreed and that I needed to honor that agreement, even though the circumstances had completely changed. So there I was, sick as a dog, having to drag myself out of my own room so he could have alone time with his girlfriend. I spent 3 hours sitting in the lobby of our dorm, feeling miserable and getting sicker by the minute. I couldn't go get medicine because I'd already used up what little energy I had. I couldn't rest because I was stuck on some uncomfortable couch in a noisy common area. The whole time I'm thinking about how I'd never do this to someone who was clearly unwell. When I finally came back to the room after 6, I was furious. That's when I called him a selfish bastard. I told him that any decent person would have postponed their plans when their roommate was sick, especially since it was just for one afternoon. He got defensive and said I was being dramatic, that it was just a cold and I was fine. Just a cold. I had a 102 fever and could barely stand up. Now he's barely talking to me and some friends are saying I overreacted by name-calling. But honestly, I think his complete lack of empathy warranted it. I mean, who forces their sick roommate out of their own room just so they can have girlfriend time? It's not like it was an emergency or something that couldn't be rescheduled. It was just selfish and inconsiderate. Maybe I could have handled it better without the insults, but I was sick, exhausted, and frustrated. Should I have just sucked it up and been more polite about the whole thing? Story 3. Wife found perfect house but it's missing everything she wanted. So my wife thinks she found our dream house but I'm pretty sure she's lost her mind. Let me back up here. We currently own a perfectly good house that we bought a few years ago. It's got everything we need, we're comfortable, the mortgage is manageable, no complaints from me. But my wife has been obsessively looking at houses online, dreaming about upgrading. She's got this list of 3 things she really wants that our current house doesn't have: a larger walk-in closet in the master bedroom, a soaking tub, and a bigger kitchen. Fair enough, those would be nice to have. I told her if she finds a house that checks those boxes and makes financial sense, we can consider moving. Last night we went to look at a house with a realtor, and she immediately declared it perfect. But here's the thing, it literally doesn't have any of her 3 requirements. Not one. It's a 2-story house where all the bedrooms are upstairs, including the master, but there's no bathroom up there. So if you need to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, you have to go downstairs. The master bedroom has a tiny closet, way smaller than what we have now. The kitchen is actually smaller than our current one. And there's definitely no soaking tub anywhere. I'm standing there thinking, did we look at the same house? When I pointed out that it doesn't meet any of her criteria, she got annoyed with me. She started talking about the potential, how we could renovate and add things. But we'd be paying significantly more for this house, plus renovation costs, plus the hassle of major construction work. Meanwhile, our current house already has most of what this place would have after renovations. The whole thing makes no financial sense to me. We'd be taking on a bigger mortgage for a house that's currently worse than what we have, just for the privilege of spending even more money to maybe make it better. And that's if the renovations even go smoothly, which anyone who's ever renovated knows is a big if. I tried explaining this logic to her but she accused me of being negative and not supporting her dreams. She said I'm always shooting down her ideas and that I don't want her to be happy. That stung because I do want her to be happy. I just want us to make smart decisions. I'm not against moving if we find something genuinely better, but this ain't it. She's been giving me the cold shoulder since then, acting like I'm the villain for not getting excited about a house that fails to meet her own stated requirements. Am I missing something here, or is she letting emotions cloud her judgment? Story 4. Colleague tried to diagnose my mental health over lunch. So my coworker just tried to diagnose me with autism and ADHD over lunch and I'm still processing what happened. Let me set the scene. I was having lunch with my colleague Amy today and we were just chatting, joking about how we tend to think similarly about work stuff. Pretty normal conversation, right? Then Amy drops this bomb, she goes, I think that's because we're both neurodivergent. I tend to get along better with other neurodivergent people. I was caught off guard but I asked her what made her think I was neurodivergent. That's when she really crossed the line. She told me, you have similar autistic traits and you definitely have ADHD. Just like that, as if she's qualified to make that determination. Here's the thing, I have never, ever discussed my mental health or any potential conditions with Amy or anyone else at work. That's private information that I keep to myself. I don't know what gave her the impression that she could just analyze me and slap labels on me like that. When I asked her why she felt entitled to diagnose me, she got defensive. She started backtracking, saying she was just making an observation and that she didn't mean anything by it. But the damage was done. She'd already made these definitive statements about my mental health based on absolutely nothing but her own assumptions. I told her and some other colleagues who joined the conversation that they needed to stop trying to diagnose me. I explained that it was inappropriate and that my mental health was none of their business. Now everyone's acting like I overreacted. They're saying Amy was just being friendly, trying to relate to me, and that I took it too seriously. Some people are even saying I was rude for shutting down the conversation so firmly. But I don't think I was wrong here. First of all, Amy isn't a mental health professional. She has no training or qualifications to diagnose anyone with anything. Second, even if she was qualified, you don't just diagnose people casually over lunch without their consent. Third, this is my workplace, not a therapy session. I shouldn't have to deal with unsolicited psychological evaluations from my colleagues. The whole thing made me incredibly uncomfortable. Now I'm wondering what other assumptions she's been making about me, or if she's discussed her theories about my mental health with other coworkers. It's created this weird dynamic where I feel like I'm being analyzed and judged instead of just treated like a normal colleague. Maybe some people think casual discussions about mental health are no big deal, but to me, it felt invasive and unprofessional. Should I have just laughed it off and moved on instead of making it into a thing? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.